there, welcome to Margaret Lewin Quilting. Today we're going to be working on block 6 of Pat Sloan's 2016 Mystery My Secret Garden Quilt Along. Ooh, that's a mouthful. But anyhow, today we are working on block 6, which is the Halifax Public Gardens in Canada. I've never had the opportunity to go there. Hopefully someday I will. But this is the block, and if you'd like to see how I put it together, stay tuned and we'll get it all put together. This is block 6 for Pat Sloan's Quilt Along, and here is the layout of it. And you'll see here I've got both of my blocks all cut out and ready to go. So the first thing that we're doing, I'm going to set these aside because these are for later on, is we have got 4, I think these are 5-inch squares. Let me double check. Yep, we've got 4 5-inch squares of, I'll show you the 2 fabrics, of these 2 fabrics for Pat and these 2 fabrics for Victoria's colorway. And then we have 4 3-inch. We have 4 3-inch squares. Here's the Victoria Finley wool fabric. And here's the Pat Sloan fabric. So the very first thing that I did was I matched them up and I drew a line from corner to corner because we're going to make 8 half square triangles out of these 4 and then 8 half square triangles out of these 4. And once we get the half square triangles made, we are going to be squaring them up, and we will square the large ones up to 4.5 inches and the smaller ones up to 2.5 inches. So I'm going to be sewing 1/4 inch on each side of my drawn lines. That's the first thing I'm going to do. Once I get them all sewn, squared up, pressed, all that done, I'll be back to lay out these and show you how we're going to put them together and how I went about pressing them. So this is our next block, and what I've done, you can see I've got it all laid here and I'm thinking that it's right. Well, it's not. This is the correct way to do it. So we want it to look like this. So let's make sure we get it all laid out right first. Then we'll start looking at it. You know, this is the one where you're sitting at home going, no, Margaret, turn it this way, turn it this way. And if only I could see you and hear you, it wouldn't take me as long to fix it, would it? So here we go. Okay. I knew something wasn't right, but I just couldn't place my hand on what it was. Okay. Now I've got it. So there's my Pat Sloan block. It's all laid out. I want you to see how I'm going to go about putting this one together, because we've got 4 rows if we're out here, but 3 rows if we're in the center here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put these 4 together. I'm going to put these 4 together. And then I'm going to stand back and I'm going to push these babies away, and I'm going to start with just my inside squares. So I will put these 2 and these 2 together. Then I will attach them to this, to the red block in the center. I'll put this row together and this row together. Then I'm going to attach all of them so they'll be attached. And then I'll add this in. So I'll have 1 row sewn, 2, 3, then I'll attach them all together. So that's my Pat Sloan block. I will show you the Victoria Finley Wolf also, but I'm going to get my Pat Sloan block sewn first, okay? So I'll be back in just a few minutes. Here is the Victoria Finley Wolf block all laid out, and I'm going to caution you, be very careful about these half square triangles in the center, because it gets, let me clarify. I have an extremely difficult time. I set this up twice to photograph it and realized the first time that obviously I had it wrong, so I had to redo it. And you saw me have problems with Pat Sloan. So there's just something about this block that I keep messing it up. Hopefully I've got it straight now. I think I do. I have gotten half of the Pat Sloan block sewn together. I'm going to keep going, get both of these sewn together, and then I'll come back and show you what they look like. Here is my Pat Sloan block. You're looking at the reverse side of it. But before I finished sewing it together, I sewed my Victoria Finley Wolf block completely together. I'll show it to you. Here it is, and I'll do another close-up so that you can see it when it's both of them are done. But here's the block, and I'm okay on the front side. I'm pretty flat, but I noticed that I have some bumps, really here, these, and then here and here. And it's just because there's so many seams that are coming together right there. And I wanted to see if I could avoid it or at least lessen the amount of bulk right there. So what I have done is I have taken my first row, I pressed my center seam open, my outside seams went to the outside solid block. The middle row, I did the exact same thing. My center seam I pressed open, my two outside ones I pressed to the solid block. My two little center seams here, I pressed those open. I did the same with this block as that, the same with this block as that. And these two blocks, I pressed the center seam open. So now I'm gonna go ahead and put it together, and I do believe it's gonna end up coming out a lot smoother because of what I've done. I'm gonna sew this together to make this center row. I'll open this up a little bit for you. I'm gonna sew these two to this to make my center row, and I will actually be pressing this into the center, which is good because these are out. Put these 3 rows together, attach these, and then put the whole block together. So I think it's gonna go together a little bit better, but I wanted to take a minute and show you what I did differently on this second block while I still had it apart. I'll turn it over and show you how I pressed this one. The top and the bottom row I pressed out towards the solid block and pressed the middle seam open. I did the exact same thing in this little block. It's a duplication of this, but in a much smaller size. Any place that I could press towards a solid block I did, as in the center here. And again, my seams are pressed open, and I pressed this row the exact same as the top. So there we are. So here are your 2 blocks. I still can't decide which quilt's my favorite, if it's Pat's or Victoria's fabrics. I can't choose. So anyhow, these are the blocks from, as I said, Victoria Finley Wolf's fabric. This fabric line is called Mostly Manor, and this one is block 6. I did manage to get them all up in order so that you could see them. At the beginning of the video, I showed you all of Pat Sloan's colorway fabric, so you can see hers, and her collection's called Hometown Girls. So thank you so much for joining me today and for sticking around all the way to the end. I hope to see you again next month. Please, if you like this video and you want more of this type, give me a thumbs up so that I know that it's something that you do like. And if you haven't already, please do subscribe. There'll be a button up there or over there or down there, but someplace there'll be a button so that you can subscribe. I'll see you again soon. And again, thanks so much for joining me. Bye.